be a part of this. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
So this brings us to the final part of our event. The final presentation is very interesting. It will be given by Mr. Benjamin Lesjak. He is a lawyer and IT specialist and also assistant professor at the University of Primorska, and he also teaches on different higher education institutions. He is connecting law to modern technology and data privacy. He works for the company DATAINFO.SI, and he is counseling different organizations in the private sector regarding data privacy. He is also a member of our SAFE Internet Centre and also a lecturer about the safe use of internet and the mobile technology. He will be talking about the responsibility of parents for posting recordings of their children. He will be talking about their liability, and he will also be answering some of the relevant questions regarding the consequences from such activities of parents. I can see that he is ready. So Benjamin, the floor is yours. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you for inviting me. I'm always happy when the organizers invite me to this traditional September event. This year, I have a topic for you. As I was listening to Nina, we were talking about children when they are posting content. And it was interesting to hear when Nina said that parents need to be taught how to use Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. But today, I would like to touch upon those parents who are maybe too keen about using the social networks and modern technology. And when they're using them at the expense of the privacy of their children. So what are the consequences of this? What can be happening when you have such activities of parents? I didn't manage to get much visual data, so I would like to apologize, but I will nonetheless try to be very graphic so that you will understand what is at stake here. And also, I will talk about what are the problems of such postings of parents. If I try to think about a nice Saturday afternoon weekend, when my children finally start to play with themselves, at first, you can see that everything is messy across the entire garden. There are a lot of toys here laying around, and my wife says, "Oh my God, this is so messy and horrible." But if you are looking at it carefully, you can see that this is the result of a process. And the elder boy said that, look, this is an amusement park. And they also used the mother's laying stool. And they also have a pool and everything. And I couldn't help myself from not posting this online. You can see the entire playing field here. You can play with the sand, you can play in the water. And this is what is going on in every backyard if you have kids. And this is really a good thing. I'm really happy that my children are this way. If I'm a parent, I also have to brag about my children. I will post this on Facebook or send it through Messenger or through Pinterest, or maybe I will post it on my Viber account or on YouTube, or maybe use some TikTok or many other apps which enable such kind of activity and spreading of this great news about this great Saturday afternoon in our garden. But as a legal expert and parent, I also ask myself, while posting this, am I a responsible and good parent? So I bragged about my kids, and I'm telling about this nice future of my children. So my children are very resourceful. But the second question is, because posting this, am I an irresponsible and bad parent because I'm posting images of my children without even asking them, do you let me do this? How do you feel about this? I do not know if my daughter will understand, but my son, I'm sure I would say, yes, I agree, or he would say, no, I don't agree with this. So am I a bad parent because I posted this, or am I a good one? So we have this weighing between these two options. When I'm thinking about the behavioral patterns of parents, and I think Nina was very good in presenting them, I always use this image, this behavioral pattern in my lectures, because parents often use these devices to check some news or something else or work. And I also like to use this photo when you come home from work, or maybe grab some lunch, or when you go to bed. And maybe because of this, there are some problems between the husband and the wife, because it is much easier to talk to your phone, and it's also even more exciting to talk to your phone than to dedicate your time to your husband or the wife. But from the point of view of the privacy of the child, this is of course provocative. So from the point of view of the privacy of the children, this form of addiction of parents is not that controversial. Because while doing this, the parents do not reveal the privacy of their children while using their phone. However, when a part of this addiction is our child or your child, when he is constantly monitored by your phone, so when he's playing, when he's going to the toilet, so in those cases, because of this addiction and of this pattern of the parents, you need to raise your alarm. When I was getting ready for this conference, I was looking at some American statistics, and I provided a short translation. This kind of posting of images of children is called sharenting. So this is a combination of parenting and sharing. So this brings about sharenting. So 2 out of 5 parents published more pictures of their child from the start of the epidemic. 70% of parents post pictures of their children at least once a month. If you posted an image of your child, then you were one of 85% of Americans. So 1 of 10 parents do not think about the child's future because of such posts. 2 out of 3 parents think that children will not mind about them being posted online. So they don't care. This is what such parents feel. Young parents are 2 times more likely to post such pictures. I'm I consider myself as an older parent. I do have small children. However, 40% of young parents publish 1 to 6 photos per month. These are quite large numbers if you think about it. So there are quite a lot of images. Half of mothers share the photos of their children between 1 to 4 times a month. So half of mothers. So 50% of mothers. If you want to find even more detail or sources of this information, I've noted a link down below. According to my estimate, these are quite high numbers, because I don't post such images apart from the one that I showed you in the beginning. And I didn't post that image. I kept it for myself. And maybe once in the future, I will show this to my friends. I become even more shocked at the following statistics. These are children influencers, Instagram, TikTok profiles. Take a look at the 4.6 million followers, or even greater number of followers. So you can see that these profiles are edited by the parents, my mommy or my daddy. So there is loads of this on the internet. These are, this is an older image, but this is still relevant. So a mother records every fart done by their son or their child. So everything the children do, they are recorded. Why? I'm sure it's not because of personal instincts. There usually is a business model behind this. So this brings me to the next question. Can the children be a trademark of parents? So can I, as a parent, use my child to earn money? And to do so, I expose my child, I photograph my child and place him at the heart of my influencing activity. And maybe by doing so, I advertise some baby products. I had a discussion with a colleague of mine. This is not outside of Slovenia. There was a post in Slovenia by Slovenian influencers, a mother. I think that one post cost 7,000 euros. 7,000 euros is quite a significant number if you think about it. I am not really fond of this, if I'm honest. But on the other hand, when I was checking the legislation about this, the legislation regarding influencers partly includes the media legislation, the advertising legislation, but it's not very specific, because the influencing activity is not really concrete. So I turn back to the question of parenting. As a parent, what makes me a good parent? What am I allowed to do and what am I not allowed to do? And here we're talking about principles. So I have parental care. And within this parental care, I need to create a situation for an integral development of the child. But what does it mean, this phrase, an integral development of the child? If I want to be modern if I want to have a profile and show the picture of my child doing his activities, is this integral development of a child? So the parental care means obligations and rights of parents, referring to the care for child's life and health, his education, control, the care for his education, and also the obligations and rights of parents regarding the representation and maintenance of the child, and also the governance of the child's property. This parental care can also be taken away or limited to one or both of the parents, but this refers to the worst forms of child abuse. I talked to a lawyer and we talked about parents posting content about their child. It would be difficult for a parent to be relieved of their parental care because of posting such images online. So this last removal of parental care really refers to the worst cases of abusing the child. So when talking about the influencers, or even if you have only a mother who likes to publish images of her daughter, Taya, Maya, or whatever her name is, in this case, you have to ask yourself whether the mother really creates the situation which enables the development of a child. We need to raise our children by respecting their privacy, their individuality, and their dignity. So when my child goes to the toilet and I place this on the Instagram, do I invade his privacy by doing so? I don't know. And I do not know how will the child understand this when he grows up. The parents need to do their best to the benefit of their child. And so they carry this responsibility towards the child. And this is what the child's best interest principle is about. So everyone who publishes their child's photo needs to do this mental work, this thinking about what he is doing to his children. The second question is the following: who earns the money? So we saw 4.6 million followers, and of course it is the parents who manage the assets of the children. But the parents need to use this money for the child. So I cannot use this money for myself. However, what happens when these earnings become part of the domestic budget? So here you also have the economical question: who earns the money? So also in the light of the legislation, you would need to have you need to think about the children. There is also another piece of legislation governing the labor of the children or the children's work. In principle, it is forbidden to have children working below the age of 15, excluding, for example, using children in movies or for the purposes of advertisement or art. So there is this small area under the legislation which allows the work of children. But this is income given to the child. But what do parents do with such income? And how will the child get his hands on this income when they grow up. Last but not least, we need to be frank and say that the parent is the legal representative of the child, and they can record the child and publish the child online. I found quite a lot of articles about this topic, but it is really legally acceptable, and I'm very sad that I didn't find any legal instrument that would enable a control over such sharing of parents. What can happen in the case of excessive posts? I found quite a lot of stories. As mentioned earlier, you have a mother who uses Instagram in her closed group, for example, including 15 or 20 friends or followers who are following the development and growth of your child. And in one moment, this mother receives a request for following, and she needs to accept this request. But let us say that this request was given by a modeling agency. And the mother says, yes, of course, I will allow it. And she allows the agency to follow her. And what happens? The next day, she receives a couple of 100,000 of requests for following. And when she began exploring this, she found a website with the pictures containing her children. And this web page was actually a pedophile web page where her pictures or the pictures of her child were already shared. So even if you are very, very careful, such a thing can happen. So your daughter or your son can become available, or their picture can become available in some really inappropriate surroundings. I was really careful about not trying to use any children for my presentation. Because whenever you post a picture of your child, this immediately means that their privacy has been breached. Because in this way, you create a digital profile for your child, but maybe your child does not even want that. Because Nina already said, the child has a contact, has the email, the child can read comments, they can have followers and fans, and you open the door towards your child. Do you understand? When you open these doors to new communication, which might not have good intentions, but the kids are only safe at home. When I have trainings for parents at schools, I always use the Peter who has guests coming into his house and into his room.
So through the computer, through your profiles, when you open this door of your safe home, everybody has access to your child, to your home. And this can happen because of one single inappropriate post, and your child is attracted, somebody is attracted to your child. Somebody starts looking for materials, pictures, photos, and then eventually gets access to your child, finds out where he goes to school. We have predators, some of them are virtual. We mentioned them at the beginning of the conference, and the real life predators that invite the children somewhere and then actually take them, kidnap them. What I mentioned before is an issue that I detected in one of the scientific articles. I will add the source of the article later. The problem of the interpretation of the child's privacy by the court. Was it violated? Was the privacy of the child violated? So the court has reached development in terms of the human rights when we talk about privacy. So my right to express myself, freedom of speech. And then on the other side, we have the right to privacy. So all of our human rights are in competition. Some will choose the freedom of speech that will be above the right to privacy, and for other people, vice versa. Therefore, we need to interpret it individually. What is a problem here, when the researcher conducted a case study, when she was looking for examples, she did not identify and realized that the courts do not see potential harm for the child if we do not protect the child's privacy. So if a parent posts some content, the court, because of some technical inadequacy, cannot see this. So your child has a YouTube profile, an Instagram profile, you have thousands of photos of your child. And what does that mean? How does that impact the child's privacy? And the court did not see the harm for the child here. And in terms of the child's privacy, the court is inclined to prioritize the parental control of the child. So this is one of the rights. The parent can conduct control over their child. The family code includes a lot of such definitions. So we have to, as a parent, decide which information, data about my child I will share. And the courts decided, this was studied by the researcher, that the priority of the parental control, parental authorization is highly prioritized than the privacy of the child. Especially in issue where consent or parental control is in conflict with the parents. When a parent does not protect the rights to child's privacy actively. This is quite a problematic conclusion, and I based my contribution on this. So what do we need to do? Children and personal data. We know the GDPR, the directive in the European Union that we all have to follow. the children are exposed as a vulnerable group. Their private personal information needs to be protected even more. However, GDPR does not protect the child as such against the desires of a parent, and the protection is only targeted in the child if they do something themselves. So the use of personal data in terms of marketing, advertising, personal profiles, not the relationship parent-child, but in terms of the relationship of a child and platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So they need to be careful what personal data of a child they will process. And if a child changes their minds, if they grow up, they have the right to remove such content. The content needs to be forgotten. So with my consent as a child, I was not fully aware of risks. And if I later want to remove my personal data, these platforms need to enable and facilitate such removal from everywhere, from Google browsers, from all of the platforms. So the individuals must have the possibility to later request the removal of their personal data. But there's no mention of the relationship child versus parent. This right to removal of personal information would only come into account when the child gains partial.
Do takrat pa načeloma v navednicah mora trpeti to samovoljo svojih staršev in njihove želje.
Capacity to contract. That is at the age of 15 and more. There's a provision in the GDPR where the relation platform versus a child saying that if a child is 16 years of age or more, they can consent to the processing of their personal data information. The lowest age is 13. It depends on the country, really. In Slovenia, it is 15 and sometimes 16, and in some other countries, even 13. In the UK, they wanted to adopt an online safety bill. They had a draft of the bill. In May 2021, it was withdrawn. It contained provisions on the removal of unlawful, harmful content. So controversial content that are not useful, beneficial for the child. And the bill provided for penalties, financial penalties. So even 8% of the GDP for the platform providers. And also it provided for the removal of sexual content from the platform by the platform provider. So the provider would have to take care of the reporting and removal of such content. However, online safety bill didn't pass, wasn't passed, it was withdrawn. And in the EU, we are seeing developments. In December 2020, there was an act on digital services. It would be regulation, a directive that would simply and clearly enable the reporting of unlawful content, and the platforms would have to take care of, would be liable, would have to take care of the removal and the reporting of such content. What are the unlawful contents? For example, the exchange of sexual abuse of children, exchange of personal photographs without consent, and some other examples that we mentioned throughout this conference today. So discriminatory content, the advertising, marketing, and so on, cyberbullying, and so on. This is a draft. I will follow the development of this piece of legislation. But immediately after the publishing of the draft, there were discussions whether the removal of certain content, unlawful content, makes any sense. Also, the definition of unlawful content. So the member states have the right to decide what is the content where you cannot decide whether it can be published or not. This is a clash of two rights, two types of rights, and it is very difficult to establish whether this is a censorship or something similar. So this was one aspect, the parents purposefully making photos of their children. And the second aspect is connected devices, for example, cameras, microphones, lighting, refrigerators, and so on. The devices that produce an enormous amount of data. Do you have settings that prevent the collection of the data? Do you use devices that have insufficient equipment or software? So anybody could basically access your camera. And how do you know that only you have access to the camera in the children's room? The camera recording the child's activities, how they remove their clothes, get dressed, and so on. So be careful. We have seen news depicting how an individual hacked into the device, stole the data, talked to your daughter, for example, and started blackmailing her to remove her clothes and so on. Please be careful when using all of these devices. In 2018 already, the Child Protection Commissioner in the UK stressed in one of his studies who knows something about me, about your child, for example. He exposed the most burning areas, for example, parents on social media and children on social media. We also talked about the connected baby cameras. We didn't mention connected toys, smart speakers, we use a lot, browsing the web, school databases, for example. What kind of data the school collects? Where is your child located when they use their phone, their smartwatch? Retail loyalty scheme, for example. Study and behavior apps also collect data, or medical records, travel applications, and so on. There is so much data about our children. Where are they located? Where are they moving? And another aspect is how the technology can help us. The big developers are trying to keep up, but there is we always found ourselves at the border of control, total surveillance, and freedom on the other side, the right to privacy that I always have, the right to being anonymous, and so on. Google, Apple, recently they proposed to analyze photos the users of iPhones upload in the cloud. So the comparison of such photographs to the photographs in the iCloud is the video also, can a video from my iCloud database be found in the database of videos depicting sexual abuse of children? Google also offers certain platforms and other platforms as well, and other providers as well. But there is still no true development because of this clash of rights. So the right to protect the child, the right to my own privacy, and there is a huge dilemma for us as users and for the large, huge platforms. And also for us who participate and attend conferences about sexual exploitation of children online. So before, I would like to stress this one more time, before the parent publishes something, what kind of impact this post can have? Did I edit my post? Is my motive, my purpose, my target, my need to post, to share, to get likes, to get friends? What is this motive? Why do I just want to feed myself because of my addiction, or do I really want to post my beautiful child? Is my post friendly? Like the teacher Nina said, be kind. You can choose anything. Please be kind. So is my post kind? Could it offend somebody? My child, above all. Can the child be offended today, 2 days ago, 2 years later, 10 years later? How ready am I for a reaction, for a comment? What about if somebody finds my child? What kind of consequences can such contribution, such post have? Difficult questions. And I am convinced that they will prompt you to think about to post or not to post. And I believe that you will really put some second thoughts in your motives, in your actions. play with your children, make a video and then share it live with your friends, show it to your friends, and you will do much more good for your child than publishing it online. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. I hope that some of you are still here present, and if you have any questions, comments, you are more than welcome. Benjamin, thank you very much. As always, you are opening our eyes. We like your critical approach to everything that is happening online that involves our children. I listened very carefully when you talk about the influencers, how our children have become a trademark, a business model, and that makes me very sad. But this is our reality, not only abroad. You showed some examples from abroad, but we have many such influencers in Slovenia as well. What is your opinion? Younger generations might now say, oh, this is an exaggeration. There's no harm in such videos, some such posts. They're only showing that they are people, ordinary people, and that everybody can relate to that. There's a lot of developments in the GDPR, so the protection of personal data field, but the situations that you mentioned are vague, not defined. Why is that? What is the reason for such a discrepancy? Yeah, that is a very good question. If I had a magic wand, we would resolve this issue right away. Andrei and I and other colleagues from Split Oko, we talk about it all the time. So my right to privacy, and then my right freedom of speech, my right to express myself. So these two rights clash, and additional rights that I mentioned before, the interest of the child, the protection of children as society. So where is the line? Each example is individual. I am sure that there is an influencer, a wise one, that can portray content that does not expose their child in a problematic way. I am convinced they exist, especially during lockdown. We have all realized that all of these influencers, celebrities are closed in their homes, so we felt relieved. But when I think about the other side, you have a person who abuses this good purpose of the influencers to comfort us, to tell us, I have problems too, I feel bad, it will pass. But when you have a person who abuses this trust, that will abuse these rights, here we need to be very careful. The legislation that is now in the pipeline, especially the Safety Online Bill in the UK and Digital Services Act in the EU, when I read the explanations, you can see the starting points of mechanism being imposed that will punish the abusers, that the platform providers will have to take care of this element. So if you have a person who has a business model, if you have a platform, if you have a business model, you also need to have mechanisms that will be able to find, detect, report and punish the abusers. So we will find a subject that will have to regulate. And also there are financial penalties for such providers who will fail to comply. Absolutely, I agree with you. The penalties will be able to control such the publishing of such contents. Many times we talk about how children look for confirmation online, and a participant said that we parents take our children as our achievement. So also adults seek for confirmation online. We want to present ourselves in the best light. And these are also topics that need to be debated and emphasized. A warning that a virtual environment is not a catwalk where we present ourselves in the best lights, or we show only the best. I have a comment. So I buy a new house, a new car, I make photos of it, share it, no problem. Nice weather, make a photo, share it. But when I have a child, it's a child, a human being. Don't praise yourself with a child, a human being. It is a subject, it is not a product. It is not your car, your house. So their rights are more important than your need to publish something. This was the best final thought. Benjamin, thank you very much. Thank you for your contribution, for your lecture. We are very happy that you responded to our invitation, and we hope to see you with us also in the future. Have a great day. Thank you, Benjamin.